Okay, sorry.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, social media world. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Today, we're going to be discussing about the power of emotions and how we're going to give you some strategies to help you manage your emotions, inshallah. So make sure you share this because we want others to benefit, especially with what's going on in COVID 19, and it's so difficult for people to manage their emotions right now, subhanAllah. So, ladies and gents, let me welcome you, if I haven't done also already, the wonderful Rosaline Batul. Mashallah, she helps coaches and therapists sell their high ticket offers confidently.
Yes, and I'm welcoming Saika Riyad. She's a marriage mindset coach, and she helps married couples thrive and transform their marriages and also helps divorcees.
Yes, Alhamdulillah. Okay, so we're talking about emotions today, Rosaline. So, what can you tell us about emotions? What are they, and where do they come from, and what happens with emotions?
Okay, so emotions are energy in motion. We all have a way to feel, and the way we feel, there's like many emotions like fear, anger, love, happiness, bliss. What we want is bliss and happiness as human beings, but we are afraid to acknowledge those emotions because we are afraid of the stories that will come up, right? The perfect example is if you're in business or you have an idea to build a business, you are afraid. So when you're stuck in fear, that's an emotion, okay? And it stops you from going forward, making moves, taking risks. And then you tell yourself, I'd rather stay stuck than dig deep and look further into what I want to do. That's
Yeah,
emotion,
subhanallah.
basically.
That is, and what are some of the most powerful emotions that we experience, and do they
Okay,
really serve us?
right. The most powerful one that we experience actually is shame. That's an emotion that we feel. And people think that fear is the lowest vibration on the vibration scale, but actually, shame is the root cause of fear and guilt is shame. So, a lot of us, as children, we were shamed. Maybe we didn't get straight A's. Maybe we made a mistake. Whenever we were shamed as children, we carry that emotion. And then what happens is, as a child, because your prefrontal cortex hasn't developed yet, you suppress the emotion so that you can survive, right? So the emotion creates a story, okay, that I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, I'm not important, and then you carry that emotion and you stagnate it. And when you stagnate it, you are constantly running back to it as your safe space, right? So with shame, the only way to get rid of fear is to get rid of the shame behind it. And that's looking at the stories that you tell yourself, is looking at your past, is looking at your childhood, is looking at everything, um, your blueprint that has created you, the person you are today. And once you release those emotions, you are able to like take fast action. Because remember, emotion is energy in motion.
100%, subhanallah. And some other emotions that you mentioned and regarding blueprint, is that we have the emotions of love and anger, which are both very powerful. Now, anger
Mm,
can be the feeling angry is okay, but when you act upon that emotion of anger, it can be completely destructive,
right,
subhanallah,
exactly.
right? And the same with love. Love is an emotion and everybody wants it, but people will do some crazy things to actually go and get feel that emotion and really get into that.
Right. So we have to find
So,
the balance, right?
yeah, you do. And have you worked with anybody who's experienced these emotions where they haven't been able to
Y-
handle it, or what's
Yeah.
happened to them?
So perfect example with anger. I've actually had clients who they're not able to communicate, so they get angry
Mm.
first. And the reason why is because obviously they have a blueprint that when they were children, their parents, the way they communicate with them whenever they did something wrong was to get angry. So now they carry that blueprint and use it in everyday life. Okay. And then when you look further into the anger again, it's because of shame. Is the root cause of everything when it comes to an emotion that's negative, that's negatively charged, is shame. So with a few clients, most of my clients have that issue with shame. They don't know. It's like they can't connect their identity to themselves. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Is
it
everyone
does. It does.
understanding?
And you know what, subhanallah, there's so many justifications people make
Mm,
when their emotions are out of control, when they've overstepped these emotions and have done something that they regretted, and I asked one of the people that I work with, why what made you do that, and or what made you overreact, or say this horrible thing to your spouse, or say this horrible thing
Mm,
to your husband. And they were like, I'm going to be honest. But wait a minute, there's actually a difference between being honest and being rude. Honesty, you can still be honest without being rude. It doesn't have to be
right.
disguised, right? Or other people might say, you know what, I overreacted with this emotion because, you know what, I can't bottle it up. Otherwise, I'm going to get high blood pressure. My heart is going to start beating faster. I'm going to panic. I can't bottle it up. So these are some of the reasons what people use to justify the emotions. And emotions can really get out of control if you don't act upon
Right.
them, because what they are is like they're telling you something is wrong. It's like a call to action that, you know what, something is wrong. Or other
Mm,
people say, or the husband says, you know what, the reason why I did that, the reason why I stopped speaking to her, because I don't want my rights to be taken. I deserve this. This is my haq. That's the
yeah.
kind of justification. This is my haq, and I deserve it, and I don't deserve this. So why should
Mm,
I? Why should I compromise on that? And
yeah.
people need to stop making these justifications regarding what they feel. And
Yes, exactly.
you
That's
know, and
the point.
could you maybe point out any obstacles to this bad behavior which has resulted from the emotion?
So because I work in business and I work with entrepreneurs and coaches and therapists, what I see is people avoiding things. So, when you have procrastination issues, you feel overwhelmed. Overwhelm is such a massive emotion because
And
what it is, like,
it's very common,
yes,
right?
very common. Yeah. We all have emotional overwhelm. Right now, everyone's overwhelmed with the COVID-19. We're hearing,
Yeah,
we're hearing about, people dying. We're hearing about there's not enough this, there's not enough resources, the recession is happening. So all these are provoking emotions in us, which is the greatest emotion is provoking is fear, right? And just
yeah,
remember, every single emotion has an effect. So the
mm,
effect that like whether it's a good emotion or a bad emotion, it has an effect. So when you have a negative emotion, especially when I have clients who have money issues, the number one thing that they do, they avoid. Yeah,
yeah.
they
SubhanAllah.
avoid, because when you avoid your emotions, you avoid yourself because you don't want to dig deep. You tell
Yeah.
yourself, I would rather stay stuck being
You're
broke.
running away from the problem then, basically,
Yeah,
when you're avoiding
basically.
it, SubhanAllah. Yeah,
Yeah, you tell yourself, I'd rather stay stuck than deal with this. And that's what emotions make you do. When it's negative and suppressed, it makes you avoid yourself and it makes you avoid things around you then. And that's the reason why people struggle. That's why you end up having an argument with your partner, because you have a negatively charged emotion that you're using to help, like Psych said, to justify why you're feeling that way. So the big thing with money is that you avoid looking at your bank account. The big thing about business is that you avoid posting. You go into perfectionism, you go into procrastination, or you go into like shiny object syndrome when you keep looking for a certification to try and validate you. These are
yeah.
all coming from a negatively charged emotion.
100%, SubhanAllah. And I can really see the avoidance thing, because I've seen that in a common trait in people. And
Yeah.
an obstacle to this bad behavior from that emotion is the lack of self awareness, because some people, they
Yes.
don't even know the reasons for their sadness or anger. And that's actually a problem, because they don't know why they're overreacting, or they're in denial, or they might be
Yeah.
avoiding it.
Right.
That's what they'll start doing after. Or, subhanAllah, even if we look Islamically, the Sahaba would reflect every night on their character. We should do that
Yeah.
with ourselves too.
Exactly.
In our deen as well, we're told to introspect, not just do whatever we want, whenever we want, however we want, because we feel like this. If you're feeling lonely and you haven't got somebody, and does that justify you doing something that's not right, or it's not going to serve you?
Mm,
No, it doesn't,
right.
subhanallah. And
Exactly.
yeah, and and we should do these things with sincerity. A lot
Right.
of you see a lot of people in our community, they do like the adhkar and stuff, right? And robotically, like they might say subhanallah 100,000 times or whatever, but where's the reflection? you know
Yes, exactly.
where's the reflection? When you say alhamdulillah and you think about it with mindfulness, and you introspect the blessings you have, that's
Hmm.
actually completely different, because you've involved the emotion in a powerful way. Now,
Yeah.
another obstacle, subhanallah, to bad behavior is that people have a lack of self-control.
Yeah, that's a big one.
They react, especially in marriages, people start reacting because they're angry or they've got physical with their spouse. When you're riding a horse, you need to control it. You need to pull the rein, and show who's boss, because otherwise it's gonna overtake you, right? And the same thing happens with our emotions. And this is, you might start overreacting with your kids,
Yeah,
or you might
it's a big
start
one.
breaking ties with other, sisterhood, brotherhood, and other relationships that you have.
Yeah, guys, does it make sense to you? Let us know. Just like comment yes if this is
Yeah,
making sense to you. If you're understanding, like let us know your insights, what insights you're having right now regarding emotions, because we want to make this as interactive as possible. So
yeah,
please do feel free on my Instagram and Facebook. Feel free to chime in, comment, and we'll look at the comments like in like 10 minutes to see what you guys are saying. But we want to know that you understand.
yeah, definitely. People have also a lack of coping skills, Rosaline, where for example, their mom and dad always used to fight, and they fought, and they didn't know how to do things. And so they've got to learn how to deal with it properly, because they didn't know how.
Yes,
That's the only way they knew. And a lot of stuff comes from childhood, doesn't it?
yes, it does. A lot of
What we
trauma.
model, yeah, a lot of things that we model is from our parents, because
Yeah,
they
exactly.
didn't know, they might have had a lack of coping skills. Or even more so in marriages, especially at the time of divorce, people lack thinking about the consequences. you
Mm.
know they don't think that if I say this because I'm angry and my emotion right now is anger, how is this going to affect my husband, my wife emotionally, and what's going to happen long term to the relationship. Even with
Exactly.
clients at work, even when you're working, right? You might not be thinking about the consequences, and you can damage something because you didn't control that emotion.
Yeah, and it's all about, guys, you know what you have to understand? Controlling your emotion is digging deep. That's how you control it. Because I'll give you like perfect example, you talking about when you're talking about marriage, when you're feeling triggered is because the emotion is being triggered, not the event. You have to understand that. So let's say you're getting triggered, let's say in a relationship, you feel like your husband is triggering you. He is not technically triggering you. He's triggering the emotion that needs to be healed, okay, or that needs to be released.
And
Or if you,
you're allowing
yeah,
it as well. You have to have that
yeah,
self control, them coping
yes,
skills.
yeah,
There will be triggers, but
yeah.
then, and also people have a lack of wisdom, Rosie.
Yeah, they don't want to apply that. They don't. You don't want to apply logic, because what happens is emotion is obviously illogical, and when you apply wisdom, is logical. So you know what happens usually. You know what happens when you know you're being emotional. You will blame it, and you will say, "I feel this way because." So I
Yeah,
feel this way because, and you say because of you, because of my kids, because of this, because of that. We don't
playing the
realize.
blame game. Yeah,
Yeah,
playing the blame
you
game
do
and
the
playing the victim. Yeah, playing the
yeah.
victim. Right? Yeah,
Yeah, you scapegoat. So the quickest way is you scapegoat. You know why? You know where that comes from? That comes from your parents. Because maybe your parents did that to you, or maybe your friends did that to you, or maybe your teachers did that to you. So you look for someone to blame, because that's how we've been taught to deal with emotions, to blame someone, to unload our baggage onto someone. So like perfect example, like I've had clients, actually I had a few clients this week who talked about they're doing well in their business, but they feel like it's affecting their marriage, right? Or they feel like, oh, how do I stay confident at being a coach and a therapist, but also have a great relationship with my husband. The issue isn't that they're doing great. The issue is that they're feeling insecure, which is another emotion. They're feeling insecure, and it kind of makes you feel paranoid, if that makes sense. Like when you have a negative emotion, it makes you think that, oh, everyone around me is talking about me, or everyone around me is speaking bad about me, or my husband doesn't love me anymore. Because when you provoke a negative emotion, it makes you do things and think things are not true. So you have to realize, guys, that usually we look for someone to blame. The best thing to do is to look within yourself and dig deep.
take that 100% responsibility that, what, yes, I did get angry. Yes, I was overwhelmed. Yes, I did this in mistake, but take ownership of it. Because the longer people play the blame game and accept no
Yeah.
responsibility, you're not going nowhere in life until you say that, what, I'm 100% responsible for feeling
Yes.
like this. I'm going to change it. It doesn't matter how I feel, whatever has happened, however harming or hurtful I feel about it, I'm going to take ownership of this.
Yeah, and I
And
want you guys to realize about responsibility. This is a really important point that you made, Saika, about responsibility. You have to remember responsibility is your ability to respond. That's the whole concept of responsibility. So most of us, we react. So the perfect example
yeah,
is when you are tired or when you are feeling overwhelmed, you react. And what do? You while out, you cuss, you go crazy, you speak bad to your partner, you speak bad to
your
your kids,
pattern of
whatever.
behavior, your pattern of
Yes,
behavior fires up. Them patterns that are
exactly.
not
Yeah,
working for you start firing up when you let go
right.
of emotion. Yeah.
Exactly. And then what you do, the way to deal with that is to respond differently. Yeah. So the perfect example is I'm going to give you like a context that we all understand. Let's say you have a doctor's appointment and you decided to leave the house 2 minutes late or 2 minutes before the doctor's appointment. Then what happens? You get in your car, the kids won't go in, everyone's screaming, you're losing your mind. Then you hit red lights, red lights, red lights. You're so late, you're 10 minutes late. In that case scenario, most of us will blame everything. Oh my God, like it's the kids, this, and that. We start blaming. But the thing is, you need to respond. You need to take responsibility and be honest with yourself and tell yourself, you know what? If I had just left early, if I had put the clothes out the night before, if I had prepared everything the night before, and I woke up early, got the kids ready, took my time, scheduled everything, that is you responding to a situation so that you don't get triggered. Right? Does that make sense, guys? Comment
100%.
yes below if you understand.
Yeah, let us know. Keep us, this is about you guys. And subhanAllah, having a lack of wisdom in how you respond, having wisdom, I think it's a gift from Allah, right? Really,
Yeah,
because
alhamdulillah.
people think, if you've got PhDs or degrees or you've got a certain title, it's nothing to do with your age, your gender, your degree. Because if you don't have wisdom, we should actually pray for it. You know,
Yeah, we
uh,
should.
and
Definitely.
you should make dua for it, because this is a big thing. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to,
Apply it.
revise
Yeah.
and apply it correctly, what are you going to do with it? It's not going to serve
Yeah.
you at all. And you know what? Let me give you some examples actually of some scenarios, subhanAllah. What we think about, right? What we think about affects how we feel, which affects our mood, and
Mm,
then in turn, how we're going to behave, subhanAllah. Right?
exactly. That's a
Yes,
big
so
thing.
imagine this scenario, yeah, ladies and gents. So listen carefully to this, subhanAllah. If your hubby, if you or your wife, your husband or your wife comes 2 hours late after work, yeah, and this is scenario one, and you say to yourself, oh, poor guy, he's such a good provider. He works so hard, you know. What's the mood you're gonna feel? Tell me in your comments. I'm gonna pause here. What's the mood you're gonna feel, and be really honest. What's the mood that you're going to feel if your husband's 2 hours late from work, and you're saying he's such a good provider, and you're thinking he works so hard? What's the mood? Tell me in your comment. We'll just wait for them until they respond. Grateful.
Grateful.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. What else? What else? David, age is just a number. It's about the mood. Happy. Okay.
Happy.
What else?
Good. Yes. Yeah, happy. Exactly.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, you'd be in turn, you'd feel compassionate, happy, grateful. You're going to help him relax. You might want to cook for him, subhanallah, because you thought of that situation. You gave that situation a positive meaning, right?
Exactly.
What in if scenario two, if your husband was late, right, again, or wife was late, right, and you started feeling this emotion. He doesn't care about me. I'm not a priority to him. It's all about his work. He spends time with his other family members. What's the mood you're going to feel then? What's the emotion? What's the emotion? Type it in your comments below. See, what's the emotion if you're thinking he doesn't care about me? I'm not a priority to him. It's all about his work. He never spends time with
Anger. Yep. Anger.
anger. Okay, good. What else?
Neglected. Yes.
Yeah,
Resentment.
definitely.
Yep.
Resentment, anger.
Annoyed. Yeah.
100%. Your emotion will be anger. So how will you act when he's home when you're angry? You're going to be ready for a fight. You're going to
Yeah.
be ready to, and that behavior is going to be your outburst of emotion. right?
Right.
So remember, controlling these emotions is absolutely key. That's why we said responsibility, having that 100% onus and responsibility is so
Yeah.
important. In not just in your marriage, in your life, in your career, in everyone.
I want to
In
add
every,
to that, Saika.
yeah, yeah,
I want to add to that. When taking responsibility helps you take your power back. Because you know what
yeah.
happens, guys? You know when you get angry and you get resentful and you can't forgive, you know what happens? You give someone your power. Now, why would you want to give someone your power? Your God-given power that only you have, that no one else can have. What you do is when you get emotional, when you get in a negative state, that is, when you get angry, frustrated, resentful, you can't forgive. Can't forgive is a massive emotion. It's like a massive block. It blocks everything in your life. That's the biggest one that we have that I find a lot of people can't do. They can't forgive their parents. They can't forgive their husband. They can't forgive their kids. They're always looking for someone to blame. That goes back to blaming because you're looking for someone to blame for the way you feel. So when you do that, when you can't forgive, when you can't look past the situation, when you can't look at it from a context, from a contextual point of view, you end up giving your power to someone else, to that person. So imagine that you have a parent that wasn't in your life. And I have a lot of clients who have daddy issues. Like they have issues with their father. Maybe their father wasn't in their life. Maybe their father abandoned them, or maybe their father wasn't present. So he was there, he was abusive, he didn't spend time with them. And what happens is when you grow up in life, you have that resentment and you can't forgive your father for what he did. You are giving him your power. And this is something I do in my sessions with my clients. I actually get them to take their power back. So I get them to imagine that their father or their mother, whoever that they feel like they can't forgive, a husband, a friend, someone in the past that they're holding a lot of hate or resentment towards, I get them to imagine that the person's holding a box and inside it is their power. And I get them to imagine taking it back. And subhanAllah, that within itself is so phenomenal because you realize just how much power you give to people when you have a negative emotion. Because
Yeah.
guys, I'm telling you now, you don't want to give that to no one. You don't want to give your power to anyone. You want to hold that for yourself because it keeps you in integrity. It keeps you authentic and it keeps you true to yourself. When you start acting from emotions, you start thinking, who can I blame today? Oh, this person did this to me. You start looking for excuses to justify your situation.
Mm. And subhanallah, and it's so important. You're so right. And even if from an Islamic perspective, we have something called tazkiyat al-nafs, right, which is purification of the soul,
Yeah,
right? Part of that is being able to deal with these emotions, such as anger, you know, such as all these other things that we fall into that are actually something we're struggling with, like in our character, deep in our character.
yeah,
Subhanallah. And if we think of it also Islamically, did the Prophet ﷺ ever have rage towards his family members? You know, when that man came in the masjid and he urinated,
yeah. Do you
right?
remember? Yeah,
How did he react? You know, subhanallah, did he succumb to his desires? You know, he didn't, subhanallah. So most things we do them from like habit or autopilot, or when we're emotional, we stop thinking. It's a blockage because
yeah,
you become emotional. You stop thinking now. It's all this negative kind of pattern, you know, and you even see it in some couples, subhanallah. You see that their heart rates are going high because they
yeah.
start becoming scared, or they're fearful, or they're thinking, or they
Mm,
evaluating or misinterpreting the situation completely. You know?
yes, that's what
And
it
that
is.
scenario I gave you, maybe that poor guy's working hard, right? So he can save up for a house or something that's important for the family. For
Right,
you, look at the bigger picture. Focus on the Don't focus on the pixel, right? Look at it from as a bigger picture. Focus on the good qualities of that person, because we start zooming in into
yeah.
all the negatives. You know,
And it
why?
reminds me,
Yeah,
yeah, it reminds me, Cycle, of that hadith that give 100 excuses for
yeah,
for a situation, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
why do we do that? You know why we have to give 100 excuses, guys? You know the psychological reason why is because we will always go to the negative emotion first. When a situation happens, the
yeah.
first thing we're gonna do,
Immediately, we
yes,
immediately start blaming and start
yes,
saying this
we go
person
into,
did this and it's that person's
yeah,
fault, and so on and
yeah.
so on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We go into fight or flight, we freeze, and all these, like, your nervous system, it just goes like boom. It's
Yeah,
like it just explodes. And the only thing you can do is like just fight. Like you want to like, because we have that innate technology in us that we always go into fight mode when we go into a negative emotion to get away from danger. So what happens is you want to fight people, or you want to run away and hide, or you just freeze and you just don't know how to deal with the situation. That's why a lot of people have nervous breakdowns because of the negative emotion. So this is why you should
Even
give
panic attacks.
yes,
Right?
exactly.
Because
Yes,
that's your body not being able to cope with the overwhelm of
yes,
emotions and what's going on.
right,
That's
exactly.
subhanallah.
Exactly. And then the thing is that with when your nervous system shuts down, the only thing you can do is either go into fight, flight, or freeze. And this is why it's so important to give 100 excuses. So literally, guys, if you have like let's say like a business partner, or you have a husband, or you have a friend that someone's really annoyed you, write down 100 things why it could have gone, like why they did that. Give them
And you know what?
excuses.
That is really good thing to do.
Yeah, do
And you
that.
know what? No one's perfect, right? We all have people that we
Exactly.
don't
Yeah.
get on with, right? And you can do that. And subhanallah, and when that's you're
And
really
it softens
focusing.
you. Yeah. It softens you. You're thinking, wow, this person's a human just like me. Because what
And
happens
even
is,
Islamically, when you have hasad towards somebody, right?
yes,
What should you do if you envy them? You make dua for them. You do the opposite.
right,
So it
exactly.
moves out of your heart.
Yes, so that you remove the negative charge. Because making dua for someone that you don't like, it
It's a
requires
big
you,
thing. Yeah.
yeah, to be
You
in
need
love.
a big
Yeah,
heart and big soul, and your character must be really, subhanallah, strong for you to do that.
yes. Because you need to be in a place of love to make dua. When you're making dua for someone, especially someone that you don't like, or someone that's hurt you, or like someone that you can't forgive. Like I know, guys. Like for me personally, I had daddy issues all my life, and alhamdulillah, every single day I make dua for my father, regardless of whether he was in my life or not, because he's still my dad. So that comes from a place of love. Just remember, guys, when you act from a place of love, you create this energy around you where nothing can touch you, in the sense that your energy will always be positive. The key is to always be in a place of love. And people say, I can't forgive, I can't let go. You are giving someone your power, and you're allowing them to navigate or dictate your emotions, and you don't want to do that. So always be in a place of love. Think about, when you think about someone that hurt you, think, okay, maybe they were having a bad day. Maybe they have some issues that they don't talk about. Maybe they lost their job, or their spouse, or something happened with their kids. Make excuses for the person, for you to show up better as a human being, because you have to give people space to be. And the issue is that when we go into this negative state, we want to attack people and we want to hurt people. This is why, haters, and, when I say about people who hate and people who give a lot of criticism, is because they have the most hatred reserved for themselves. Everything you do comes from within. So when you can't let go, when you can't forgive, when you're always angry, when you're always looking for someone to blame, it's because within you have an emotional wound that you need to heal.
Subhanallah. And you're right, because when you give that power, it's like you're a puppet who's being pulled by different.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
one string might be the string of love, the other one might be hate, the other one might be anger. There's so many different overwhelming emotions that we can just get lost in.
Right,
And you have
exactly.
to really take the control back. And that's why I said be 100% responsible and say, you know what, this is what I'm struggling with, and I'm gonna take control of this, I'm gonna take charge of this, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, because every single person has amazing qualities, right?
Right, exactly.
If you sit down and be wholeheartedly introspect somebody that you know and that you like, think about what is the positive character traits that they have. How no matter how bad you think they are, there's got to be something about them.
Yes, that's good.
Not even Muslim, right?
Right.
They're gonna have things. And
Yeah.
another important thing to know actually here, that comes to my mind, subhanallah, that if a person doesn't want to change, you cannot change them.
Thank you. Exactly. Why? Because the ayah, Allah says He will not change the condition of people until they change what's within themselves. And also, Sak, I want to add to what you just said. You know the hadith of the man, the story of the man who killed 99 people, and he was looking
Yes,
for forgiveness. Allah
yes.
forgave him, right? Because
Mhm.
within himself, he was looking to change. You have to understand that. When people don't want to change, you can't force them. You can't make them realize what they're doing. They have to see it themselves. And this is why I don't like the term, like the labels narcissist. And
Yes,
like, because even narcissists, they have a lot of trauma that they don't want to heal, although their behavior is not justified, and they have to look
yes.
within. But what happens with narcissists, that because they're labeled so much as narcissists, they don't want to address themselves, and they just carry on being wherever they want to be. So if you ever dealt with a narcissist, I've dealt with lots of narcissists, that, like Saika said, make an excuse for them. Think about, take yourself out of the situation, because what you do is you put yourself in the situation. Imagine you're looking on a screen, or you're watching like the, a wide screen in the cinema. Imagine you're just looking at the person, you're disconnecting from that person, and give that person excuses. Trust me, it works. Like it works 100%, and it makes you feel lighter as a person. That, oh, I don't have all this baggage to carry around into other relationships and into other situations. You just let go.
It's very hard. Let's be honest. I'm not saying that it's not hard when you really want to help somebody, right? You really want to help them change, and they don't change.
Yeah,
And you put your heart and soul on the line for it, and
yeah,
it's still not happening. Subhanallah. Yeah, it is heartbreaking, and we're not denying that. But
yeah.
they have to realize that themselves.
And you know what, guys? You know what you can do to switch that situation. You can just ask Allah, Allah, please reward me for the time I spent trying to make this person understand. Kind of that everything you do with a positive intention, reaps a reward. So
Yeah.
ask Allah, Allah, allow this to be like my ticket to Jannah. You don't know what's going to take you to paradise. So change the emotion that you have with it, that, oh, I spent so much time with this person. Like if you were married and you were with them for 10 years and now you broke up, you're like, oh my God, I wasted so much time. No, you didn't waste time. You learned a lot of lessons. Switch it around and make dua for the person, and also make dua for yourself. Like, you know what, please, like, allow this to be some kind of like weigh heavily on the day of judgment, so that it can allow me to enter Jannah.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, subhanallah, it is a hard one, but inshallah, it's the truth, and we can't
Yeah,
deny the truth and say something wishy-washy that's just gonna be, we have to
exactly. Yeah.
with real talk. And
So guys, we have 10 minutes left, so we want to know what your insights are. So please comment below what's been your insights in this session,
yeah,
about emotions. What action are you going to take? Because guys, it's all about taking action. There's no point taking
and yeah,
information
it's not.
if
We
you're not
don't
going
want to give you information. We want transformation, right? And transformation only occurs
to.
when you act upon what you benefit from and what you learn. Some tips before we take some questions. Some tips to overcome these emotions, and these are just general tips, right? They're not linked to NLP or such, but I'd say when you're in that rage or when you're in that anger, just pause. Just pause for a second and remember that there's a master plan. You're being tested right now. There is hikmah in every single thing that is happening.
Right.
And just embrace it. Accept
Yes.
it. Because when you accept it, you're going to get that inner peace, number one, right? Secondly, if you need time, if you're a person who gets really angry or you've got some patterns of behavior that are quite destructive, take some time out, go for a walk, go and exercise, pray 2 rakat of prayer, have a bubble bath, whatever works for you, whatever relaxes you, let your energy out. I don't know, go to the gym
Yeah.
or some
Yeah.
get it out in a different way, not in fighting and squabbling and squandering.
Yeah. Can I add to
Yeah,
that, Saika?
sure, sure.
Another thing that I learned from Ho'oponopono, this is like my ancestors because I'm Polynesian. I have Polynesian blood, and something that we do is 4 statements. So whenever you're feeling an emotion, let's say you're so angry, like Saika said, take a breath and then say these 4 things. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. You're not saying it to the person. You're saying it to yourself, right? And this dissipates the negative energy. And when you do it over and over again, it will just calm you down and you'll be like, okay, I'm cool now. I've done it so many, guys. I know because I get angry really quickly. So I've done it
Yeah.
so many times, and it works.
And another thing that I do in subhanallah with the couples and people that I work with is that we find out what are your triggers. You have to know your triggers. How do you expect your partner, your spouse, to know if you don't know? What are the things that tick you off? Then we're going to know how to deal with them after, subhanallah. So be in charge. Don't destroy your own soul by letting
Yes.
emotions overwhelm you, and more importantly, them lifelong and them critical, subhanallah, long-term relationships, because you couldn't master your emotions. So
Right.
those are just some general kind of. So let's
So can
look
we
at
take
the
questions?
Q&A. Yeah, let's look at the.
Do you have any on Facebook, Saika?
No, we don't. We don't have any on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm scrolling up, guys. So just hang on one second. There's been quite a few questions. So Yes, Fashion by Amina is 70 excuses. Sorry, 70, 100, whatever the hadith
Yeah,
is.
it's empty. Yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
you
But
know
you
the
know,
gist.
you get the yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm scrolling all the way. Mashallah, there's a lot of you here, guys. Jazakallah khair for joining. Sorry, Veiled Adventure. We started at 9:15, I think.
Yeah,
So
we
sorry you
did
didn't
so.
get
We
the
were in a
notification.
session before. We had training, and then it was Maghrib, so our
Yeah.
timings stay on and off. Yeah.
Okay, this is a good question from Wallah Zali. She said, "Can an emotion be released to God, or does it have to be to people in therapy? How do we know we released it and it's not stuck inside?"
Um, you
Good
will
answer.
know you've released it, and it's not stuck if it no longer affects you, and you're able to do whatever you want to do, and it doesn't, like if it's something, like if you're angry with your ex-husband or something, and then you get married and something goes wrong, or you repeat the same pattern of behavior. That
Yes, it's not responding.
it's how
Yeah,
you respond to it. That's your sign if it's been released,
yeah,
if it's really been done. And yeah, of course, we're not saying you tie your camel first and you put your trust in Allah. And tying your camel doesn't have to be one way. There can be more than one way of tying your camel. It's totally up to you which camel you find. you know
yeah,
what color he is or whatever. That's your choice. You're not forced to do that, but there has to be some work done as well, because
yeah,
some things, because it's natural psychology. It is a big thing. It's a big thing how your
yeah.
brain works, and mastering how to really control these emotions. You can do it Islamically as well. That's definitely a motivation when we know about
You
the
know what?
punishment of
You know what
something.
I would say? Do you know what I would say to that as well? Let me add to that.
Mm.
That you can release. Obviously, the first thing you do is release it to Allah. But if you find
Yeah.
yourself being triggered by the same thing over and over again, like I had a client yesterday, and she said to me that I've been doing this work for 2 years, mindset work, marketing work, strategy work, and I keep falling back into the same habit. That means you need therapy, and you need someone to unlock that emotion within you so that you don't keep falling back into the
and,
same
and there's
habit.
nothing wrong with having that therapy. Subhanallah.
It's amazing. Therapy is amazing.
Subhanallah, it can be life changing if you're working with the right people, and
Yes.
it has enormous benefits.
And
It's
you know
not
what,
a bad
guys?
thing.
There's
Not a
yeah, there's
bad
one
thing.
thing. There's
In
one
fact,
thing.
it's a really good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one thing that I do in my sessions. It's called role, purpose, function, and intention of the emotion. And that thing really gets rid of that you've released it. Because I've had it done on myself. I used to have a lot of issues with self-sabotaging, a lot of issues with anger. Once I released the emotion behind it, I've not gone back to that stage. I may have had glitches, but it's never been to the point where you know how Psycho said that you destroy yourself and you destroy your relationships. So if you've been stuck in the same cycle over and over
Yeah.
again, it's time to get someone to look at it from a microscope, within like under a microscope, so you can figure out together what the real issue is.
Mm.
Let's go on to another question, because by the way, the reason why we answered that question so long, because most of the other questions were around that same thing,
Okay.
like
Alhamdulillah.
cycles. Yeah.
Mm.
Let me go down. Sorry, guys. Please feel free to ask any questions, and we'll try our best
What
to.
emotions are you struggling with? Which things do you do that can be overwhelming for you? And in
Yes,
what situations?
there's someone
Everybody's
asked
different.
a
And
marriage question.
triggers in
Oh
different
my God, what
situations, right?
happened? Oh my God, my Instagram
So
is gone.
that's important to know.
I have no idea. Is my Instagram still on, Psycho? I have no idea
Instagram
why
is
my
just
Instagram just
buffering a little.
disappeared.
It's loading.
It says my device is too hot, and I don't even know why it's saying that. Okay, that's fine. We'll just
I
carry
can
on.
hear you, Rosie, but I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you on Facebook.
Pardon?
I can hear you on Facebook.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Well, someone asked the question about marriage. If you keep arguing with your partner, is that because of emotion, or is it because he's done something to you?
What are you arguing about, and how do you react when you argue? Those are the two questions I'd ask you to get into more detail. And maybe you can, contact us, one of us, or PM us, and inshallah, we can look into that in more detail if it's causing you a lot of problems. What is the argument about, and how do you behave? So then we
Okay.
can know more.
Guys, I lost the live on Instagram. I don't know what happened, but it's not saved. So alhamdulillah, we have the recording, so it doesn't matter. We have Facebook. That was the only two questions that I saw on the Instagram.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
But yeah, we're in time anyway. It's 40 minutes. So it was a good session, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
We want to know your insights. What were your insights from this session? What did you benefit? What was the benefit from this session? What action will you be taking from this session? And what implementations will you be taking? So we really want to know.
And this is really important that, when we have these sessions, that you take part and you reflect, because this is a really important time. Ramadan is around the corner, subhanallah, and we want to all improve. We all talk about improving, and
Yeah,
but are you walking the walk, or are you just talking the talk? So that part has to be done. Don't ever overlook that, subhanallah. And if this has been a benefit to you, please make sure that you share it with people who are struggling, because in this
yes,
pandemic right now,
definitely.
in COVID-19, people are really struggling with their emotions, Rosie. People are all over the place. They've kind of like lost hope because of,
Yeah,
of, of these overwhelming emotions. So feel free, inshallah, to share this if this has been useful to you, and reach out to us if you have any questions or comments, or you've got a private thing. Reach out to us. We're more than happy to, inshallah, answer them questions for you. So
inshallah.
for the time being, so we're gonna
Thank
call
you
it
so
a
much,
night.
guys, for joining. It was lovely speaking to you all.
Yeah,
And inshallah, till next time.
inshallah, we will see you tomorrow, and we will be
What
talking
time
about.
tomorrow, Saika?
And if you want to hear, and if you want any specific topics, let us know, and inshallah, we're happy to deliver them for you.
What time
Jazakallah.
are we going live tomorrow, Saika?
Pardon?
What time are we going live tomorrow?
Tomorrow we can do. Have we got training tomorrow?
No, 6
Uh,
p.m., right?
yes, I think so. We can do it a bit later. We can do
Yeah.
6 to 7. What time do you guys prefer? If you've got a preference, guys, that you can stick to in Ramadan as well, because Alhamdulillah, we're doing this for 30 days. Inshallah, let us know, and we'd love to. We'll take that on account, on board. If there's a time that is majority vote convenient for all of you, we'd love to serve you in the way that helps you guys and us as well, inshallah, especially.
Inshallah. So, yes.
Okay, so
Inshallah. Take
inshallah,
care, guys.
we will speak soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum.